Today, we are really honored to have the cast of the greatest horror film right here with us. So I'm going to bring them out one by one, and I know that you guys know Texas Frightmare Weekend knows how to welcome the guests and make them feel the best, because this is the best convention. So let's bring them up. First of all, let's bring up Michael Myers himself, for the original Nick Castle. Totally know who this is. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only PJ Soul! All right, we're not done yet. All right, creeps. Nancy Loomis, everybody! The first kill. This is someone who went, well, I won't say went missing, but we didn't know where she was. But the very fantastic Sean Clark tracked her down, and here she is, Sandy Johnson. Deserves the credit for tracking her down, but you know, Sean ran the other great Halloween convention, so that was the first appearance. And now, the other Michael Myers from the new one that you love, that you absolutely love. Let's welcome to the stage, James Courtney. This is like a board meeting. Suppose you wonder why we gathered here today. You're on fire. Well, I know you guys have a bunch of burning questions, and probably better questions than I could ever come up with. So we're gonna open up to you in just a second. But first of all, I just got to know from each of you what it's like to get love done all weekend, because this is the coolest crowd, probably the coolest convention that you could ever go to, and they're right here, and they've been so sweet, right?
Oh man, it's like little drops of love all day long, man. And I've said this so many times in interviews. If the world operated like a horror convention, like size, shapes, ethnicities, socioeconomic levels, people from all over the world, and everybody here is just filled with love. If the world operated like this, we wouldn't be bored. I mean,
You've been with us a bunch of times, so you know probably better than anybody how great these are. Oh yes, no, each of you, please.
Well, it has been wonderful, and if I had known I had so many wonderful, loving, sweet people out there waiting to see me, I would have been found a whole lot sooner.
This is a horror convention, but when you come to my table, I'm sure all of these people too, you just turn into this cute little pile of mush and just want to hug it all.
I just can't continue to believe that there's this much enthusiasm for this picture over and over again, and this particular convention has been tremendous. Wow, what a fan base this thing has, and I'm talking to James and talking to some of the other people on the last picture to get some hints on when we're going to see a new one, and it sounds like something's in the works.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's just really been a blast from start to finish, and I have met people from all over the world, and the most amazing thing, I met somebody who lives in the Arctic Circle. was here yesterday. And that never happened to me before. So I've just been so pleased and thrilled. So thank you all very, very much for showing up for this picture and for yourselves. And I look forward to coming back.
So can we have a show of hands of who was here several years ago when John Carpenter was here? Wow. See, and I know each one of you have a great John Carpenter story. What a character. We love him here, and I'm sure these guys would like some insight on. Is there a cool story from the set that maybe we haven't heard yet from either?
When we did the delicate scene of the See Anything You Like, I remember that John was very nervous and he wanted to make sure that I felt comfortable, with how far that was going to go. So he said, whatever, you want to have a little knee, that's fine, that'll be fine, but whatever you're comfortable with. He was very nervous, so I think it was only me, Deborah, and Dee, kind of the DP, the cinematographer, and of course Bob. Well, no, Bob wasn't in the room, that was just my place-up, but it was really cute because, I thought it was so funny that he was taking such care to be considerate of my feelings, and that made me feel very special. I felt protected by my character. And also, I have a story about Nick, where after that, when he was strangling me, he kept tickling my throat. And I do it harder because I was laughing. He's like, I don't want to hurt you. I go, what's with everybody? It's a horror film. Nobody wants to hurt me. But nice people. That's my friend.
Wow, that's cool.
I remember that he was working with a new camera. We call it the Panaglide. I think it has a different name now. But anyway, it was the one that's on the tracks and does the really long shots. So I remember he was taking extreme care to work with the camera and get that shot just perfect. So that was really interesting to watch him, obviously with his master craftsmanship work through that. So that was really special to be on set for that.
How was your night?
Well, I've known John since film school, and I taught him everything he knows.
That's pretty funny. But John actually is the one that introduced me to the real beauty of the Western picture. Because I remember one night, I don't know how he got a 35mm projector at his house, but he screened Rio Bravo at his little apartment in Beachwood Canyon. And it was it's the first time that I've ever been to, I guess, a private screening of a 35mm film, even though it was in a tiny little apartment. But because I guess the image was so pervasive, I just really got to see, really take in the shot making that was in that film, and a lot of aspects besides the story that I'd never noticed before. So I began to understand film in a different way, because my background was in the theater. And so working with John was my introduction to making films.
Absolutely. And James, I know that you directed it, but I know you have probably a good story from the set.
Well, I'll say about the set that all I can say about John Carpenter is he's a salty old dog. But it's funny because back in the day, after John and Adrian split up, my dear friend from college, Alex Stang, which is a big-time stunt coordinator, was dating me, and so I would play volleyball over at the house. I met Cody when he was a kid, and I played tennis for years at Rick Rosenthal's house. So I was in this orbit of Hollywood, never even imagining that one day I would get to be able to sit here and feel all this love with you guys and these beautiful people here. So I had no idea. I was already in that orbit. I was already being sucked in.
Wow. And now we're all sucked into it. It's so good, and it's so cool to see everybody so many years later just loving this film and new generations discovering it. So let's open it up to questions. Who's got a really great first question to start it out? No pressure. All right, right here, sir.
Sandy, how did you end up in Playboy?
Did you guys see that?
Well, it's not what you think. I had a father that was very sick, and I actually needed money to get medication for him. So it was a choice originally based on that, and then I met a lot of nice people and other people that wanted me to model and make films, so it kind of went from there. But the original intent was actually for my father.
What was it like after you made the movie and they released it, but then it started to catch momentum? What was it like?
What was it like when it started to catch momentum, for those of you that didn't hear that? Sure. Whoever wants it.
Well, I started collecting reviews and press releases, and they started coming in, and then something really strange happened. I'm not quite sure when, but there was this profile in the New Yorker magazine of John Carpenter, and at that point I thought, what has happened? Something weird has happened here. And I realized that this film not only had been a hit, but had also just gotten some kind of legs that were gonna, I think, continue it, its life beyond just the normal release. And I was right, wasn't I?
Maybe some of you don't know that, when it was initially, when it initially came out, it didn't do that well. I mean, it wasn't a big hit right away. And evidently it wasn't until some really good reviews started coming in after the fact, in a way. Who was it? Roger Ebert. Really saw it and went, oh, whoa, this guy's a filmmaker. This is a film. This is a horror film by a new filmmaker. Kind of exciting. And that got people thinking and taking a look at it again and really started the ball rolling on it. But I don't remember this time. I remember just going to the movies and I went and saw it in Hollywood. I thought I'd go during the day one day and see it, see how it was going. I said, and people were just getting scared. Oh, ooh, look at that. I know when I was jumping out of the I remember calling John and saying, hey John, the film works.
Yeah, it did take a really long time, I thought. I mean, when it first came out, it seemed like, the reviews were kind of lukewarm with everything. And it was because of word of mouth. People were like, oh, you got to see this movie. And then it became kind of a gay movie. And what it did for us as actresses, it opened the door for, casting agents to see us. Oh, she's in Hollywood. No, I've heard about that movie. So, it was nice for our careers. But yeah, I don't remember, it wasn't like an initial hit. Like today, it's all about that first weekend. It wasn't that way back then. Gratefully so.
As the other said, it started out kind of slow, so we weren't really sure where it was going to go. And then after a while, we noticed that the lines just kept forming and more theaters were playing it. And then right around then, I took another turn in life and went underground. I didn't actually realize that's what I was doing. I just found another life. And so when I was discovered again, it was like, whoa, I guess Halloween did really well. So it's actually kind of a surprise for me, and not 1 years ago, but like now. Anyway, thank you all for loving the film.
Well, while we're on that same note, I got to know for the new film, was there some? Did you feel a whole lot of pressure because Michael Myers is a big character and this is a big movie to follow up, and
Well, you're the guy.
Yeah, that first weekend box office was important.
No, honestly, from the moment I got the call from Ron Hutchinson, the stunt coordinator, to tell me that they're doing the Halloween, called us, hey, man, we're doing the Halloween. I was like, awesome, man, that'll be fun. And not even thinking that he was, had talked about me playing the role. And he said, yeah, well, David Green is very, very specific about what he wants: height, weight, age. Has to be, really good actor, and a really good stuntman. And they asked me if I know anybody, and I was like, yeah, I know one guy. So, I went down there. I was in Columbia, South Carolina. We shot in Charleston. So I went down to be put on tape in Charleston. And dude, I didn't even get out of the parking lot, and Blumhouse called. And they were like, are you available? I was like, yeah, I'm available. So then I get to the freeway, and I get another call from Blumhouse. And they're like, hey, David Green wants to meet you. I'm like, oh, great, And then I was supposed to shoot the fall, and it didn't happen. So, I was like, okay, whatever. Didn't think about it. I never thought at that point about the iconic nature of the character or anything. Well, then I got the call in December that we were going to start in January. And I guess really from the very beginning, when I got the call to do the audition, I go into mission mode. Like my dad was Special Forces and a stock car racer. I had 6 brothers, and we're all the same. It's like as soon as we get locked in on something, whether it's athletics or scholastics or whatever, we just focus on the job, and that's the way we were raised. And so I never thought about the power of this character or the iconic nature of the series. I knew that I was working with some incredibly gifted people, and all the people that put it all together. When Malik and Ryan Turek and like all the guys. David Green and Danny McBride, and all those guys that came together to make this happen. I just sort of tapped into this immense talent and intelligence that these guys put together with a passion, and I let that feed me and just stay. When I worked on that show, man, I didn't feel 1 nanosecond of anxiety or stress the entire time. Man, I was on the mission, and it was freaking awesome. It was the most joyful and fulfilling experience of my entire career.
Speaking of, we have Ryan Turek, one of the producers of the new Halloween film in the back, so if we can give a big round of applause.
Had you seen our movie when it first come out? Or
Yes, I saw it.
did you watch it again before you did?
I saw it. I was an undergrad, and I brought a date to see that. I can't even remember what her name was. In fact, I heard it. When I walked out of that film, and I was like, there's 2 films I saw in undergrad that were game changers: Rocky and Halloween. And I knew in 4th grade I was going to make films, so I looked at film in my way, in a unique way. And I walked out of the theater after seeing you guys do what you did, and it was like, that's a freaking game changer, man. Something happened. Like I knew it. And I was right. Yeah, so it was.
And then did you watch it again before?
I watched one time because what I wanted to do is, and this is a beautiful gift that Ted Knight gave me, the wonderful old actor. He told me once, we had this long conversation, he was very generous, and he said, he recognized I was an actor somehow, some way, and he said, the most important thing you can do as an actor is learn how to emulate, learn how to not copy what somebody's doing, but look at people around you, in a bar, in a restaurant, the people in your life, feel into their energy, feel into what it is that makes them tick. Don't think about it, just feel into them. So I work with that, and that's how I work as an actor to a great degree. So what I did was, before I went down to be put on tape, I watched the original one time, and there was a moment where Nick is walking camera left to camera right in the backyard, very, very quick scene, and inside myself is, I got it. I don't know what I got, but I got it. So what I did was, and guys, there's no way I could have done what I was so blessed to be able to do if Nick Hassel hadn't done what he did.
Let me just add something before we move on. I just wanted to say one more shout out to Ryan.
Yeah.
Yes. I've never been in a situation in a movie, I'm talking about the new movie now, of course, where you have a person on board from the production company that is just as much of a fan of a genre, and it's like one of you out there putting a stamp on the picture, making sure that the fans know are going to get what they deserve for these things. So just a great and unique situation. I really wanted to thank him since we're here.
Thank you.
All right. We got a question right back there. Go ahead.
Obviously, Halloween's one of the most enduring horror films ever. I'm curious why you think that's the case.
Well, why do you think it's such an enduring horror film?
You guys answer.
And I just as an observer, because of, because I'm with you guys, I'm a fan of what they did. It's the most amazing thing when a perfect storm happens, when you have the right people come together, you have the right director, the right cinematographer, you have the right producers, you have and we got to experience that with this one. Is somehow, some way, the universe divined that the right people were going to come together at the right time and do something special. And you can't lie to an audience. Like, and Jimmy Cagney said, the truth to acting is standing on 2 feet and telling the truth. Like, the audience knows when they're being bullshitted. But these guys got in there and did just a freaking amazing job. They cut a new genre, a new paradigm in the genre. And so I think it endures because of that, because of the immense talent of these people and the dedication that they put into it.
Very good.
I just have more of a comment. I graduated high school in the 70s, and I went and saw Halloween when it came out, obviously, and my younger brother and I both saw it. We've been fans ever since. And my daughter, Emily, who just turned 18, we started watching it together a few years ago. And now she's become a diehard Halloween fan. And then when the new movie came out, I took her and her boyfriend. And I know that ultimately when my daughter has kids, they'll be exposed to Halloween. So it's a movie that just continues to keep going. And she loves it as much as I do. And PJ tells you, I think you're beautiful.
I like that. That was a good setup. The movie's going to continue for generations. And PJ told you beautiful. Love it. Right there.
Through the years and conventions, stories and stuff, you hear about all the behind the scenes stuff. And I heard it many times, and it's like to hear it from the panel. Is the lead collection and trash bags after each scene, y'all going to chase leaves around and collect them and reuse them?
I don't think I've ever
Yes,
done
I personally, I'll repeat the question. It's about the leaf issue. Because the movie was shot in the spring, in April, as I recall. And of course it's set in autumn. And so we had a leaf problem. And we had purchased some artificial leaves from the flower market downtown LA, but they were very expensive and we didn't have a lot of them. And somehow we had other bags of dead leaves. The ones from the flower mart were beautifully autumn colored, but the others were just plain brown dead leaves. But we did collect them, and after we had the fans blowing the leaves around, and then we'd have to pause and collect them all if we were going to do the shot again. I think it made John a really tight film, right? It's like one shot. That was going to be it. We were going to get it because it took time and money to collect all those leaves.
I remember it being a big priority afterwards. Okay, everybody get the lead.
It's low budget when dead leaves are part of it.
It was the same with the pumpkins too, because it was hard to get really great looking pumpkins in April when they're all rotting in the fields. But we managed to salvage enough of them and keep them, from
On ice.
On ice. No, really, we did have them on ice.
Maybe it's time to give a shout out also to someone that's not here. That is one of the questions of why does this endure? One of the reasons is that amazing mask found and then treated, invented by the production designer slash editor slash best friend slash musician Tommy Wallace. I'm sure it's been
Oh, we love Tommy Wallace, another character. and Ryan, please tell me that you had someone to collect the leaves this time. All right. Okay, wonderful. Right back.
What's it like working with Jamie Lee Curtis?
Sorry, what'd you say, Ryan?
I was saying we shot in the winter, but we did have guys and leaves.
See, some things never change. Okay. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
What was it like working with Jamie Lee Curtis?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
She was a blast to work with. She was really young. She wasn't even 21. Yeah, and you know, she was really enthusiastic and really fun to be around and learning just like the rest of us. And you know, it was just added to the whole sort of pleasure of being on that set, even though we're all working really hard.
So I've got to say, okay, my daddy was a special forces stock car racer. My mom had bigger balls. Like I was raised by a powerful woman. One who was a peace activist in Belfast and firebombed other lodgings. I mean, my mom's favorite saying was, and I don't mind telling you. Well, so I have this deep appreciation for powerful women. And Jamie Lee Curtis, in this age of females becoming empowered, finding their true power, which ultimately will empower men as well. It was a distinct pleasure to work with a woman who is so confident and so powerful and so intelligent. Her ego was just not there. I mean, she was self-deprecating. She doesn't think she's pretty. I mean, she's like, man, as a professional, that woman was on point constantly. And physically, she fought like a stunt woman. I mean, she's powerful and strong. She's in great shape. She took her beating like a man. You know what I mean? She fought like a cat. You know what I mean? So I was very, very moved by the fact that this woman is so. I mean, she looks you right in the eye, speaks her truth, doesn't suffer fools gladly. She's very funny. And she's an amazing, amazing woman. And if, I would wish for all of you that you could spend 10 minutes with Jamie, because you would walk away, you'd walk away changed. She's an amazing woman.
Right here in front of us.
Well, first off, DJ, you're wearing a t-shirt from my Big Red Video Store. That's cool. And apparently, this whole weekend, everybody's been coming up to my knees here going, oh my God, you look like PJ Souls. And I didn't realize she really does. But my question for you all is, you're doing a little independent film, and John's new, and everyone's new and young, and then you end up, it becomes what it becomes. How does it feel like just waking up every day and just thinking, no matter what you do in the future, whether you do nothing or what you've done in the past, wow, I was in something that changed film. It's like giving the role of the Tin Man, the Wizard of Oz or something. It lasts forever. How does that feel? All of it.
I don't know if that is my thought process. That's good. I think it's because of these conventions that the awareness has really taken hold, and as you described it so eloquently, it was amazing. I probably don't wake up every morning thinking of Halloween. Three grandchildren now. But when I come here and I spend the weekend here, and people come to my table and are just, full of love, and like everybody said, it's just an incredible rush and experience to know that it's lasted this long. It feels really special. But I think of it more in terms of the movie movie as a whole and all the people involved, as opposed to just about myself. But I'm extremely blessed and extremely grateful to have been a part of it, because when we were making it, it was just, oh gosh, I hope I get this film, and then, you know, I can put it on my reel, and then I can get another job, because as an actor, you pick up those jobs. And it was just, you know, so exciting to have even made it and be a part of it and contributed, because John was very into allowing us to collaborate. If we had a line we wanted to throw in, you know, who needs books? I always, you know, I don't need my books, my math book, my history book. I just did that just to extend some kind of dialogue as we were walking, so it wouldn't be boring. And it was wonderful that way. So, but, you know, so that's what I felt, you know, back then, and now it's just sort of icing on the cake, and it's amazing. All I can say is amazing.
This one's for PJ. I'm wondering if you got to spend a lot of time with the Ramones, and if there's a moment that stands out with you, you'd be willing to share.
The remote.
They weren't in Halloween. Well, obviously, yes, every day. That again was a 21-day shoot, $200,000 budget, so everybody was on set all the time. And they were from New York, musicians, obviously very unhappy with the 6 a.m. call. They were very quiet most of the time. We didn't really get to know who they were until we filmed the concert scenes, which was, you know, amazing. It's amazing, and that's why the movie, like Halloween, is long-lasting, because it really is their Hartley's night, where it's just a precious part. But they were very quiet. Johnny probably was the most talkative. I had to, you know, beg them to come to the lunch line. They were really seriously wanting just pizza. They felt that the crew and the rest of the cast were working harder than they were, so they kind of put it here and there. And they never would get in line first. I'm like, come on, you guys are the stars of the movie. You can eat first, it's okay. And they just say, no, it's okay. I would say it was just really endearing. I mean, you don't think of the Ramones as endearing, but to me, they were. And again, that film too, like Halloween, was a cosmic storm, and just a beautiful happening. And again, grateful to be a part of it. So.
You.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah!
So, what were y'all's first impression of the iconic mask? Was it something that you think that, you know, at first you were like, oh my god, this is frightening, or was it something that kind of just grew into it as the film was made?
Well, I thought it was Bob.
Well, you know, first of all, there is a story about auditioning the mask. I don't know if you all know that one, where Tommy Wallace again went out and found that mask, and found a clown mask too. They thought was a pretty good second choice. And what Tommy told me is that he and John and Deborah were sitting in the room, and they had someone come in wear the clown mask first. And they went, hey, cool. And then they came in with the Michael Myers mask on, and they went, fuck, that is it. Just from my point of view, I remember the first time any of the toy companies put out a figure, and I went, I think I called John and said, John, I'm an action figure. I just thought that was the coolest thing, because, you know, you collected all of the Star Wars stuff, and now I'm just like that.
What were your auditions like? If you had to audition.
Well, I did. I was called to audition. They said for a scary movie, and I didn't know anything about it. And I met with actually John, and that's unusual. You usually meet with the casting agent, and you meet with her, and then the second audition you might come back, and then we put on tape or something. But this was actually just in John's office. And I read a scene with him. I really can't remember which one, but I know there were a lot of totallys in there. And afterwards he said, hey, I think you're great. You want the part? And I go, well, yeah, sure, which again is a very unusual thing. He told me later that he kind of had me in mind since Carrie, seeing me so that was very sweet. But, and then I said, well, you know, that's cool. I said, yeah, you're the only one that, you know, really read the word totally right. And I said, well, how else would you say it? He said, that's why you're getting the part. So that was great. And then he asked me to stay, if I would mind staying, because there were 3 guys outside, and he would like me to help him choose the part of Bob. So I did. So, and that was really fun. I read with each of them, and then we conferred, and I just met him. But again, he's such a nice guy, John, that, you know, it's like, oh, I like that guy. I don't like the man. He was really cool. So.
Can we get a totally from you?
Totally.
You guys have any other audition stories that were interesting?
No, I didn't have an audition because I had worked with John on Assault on Precinct 13. And I guess he's killed me off in that movie. He figured I'd be willing to die. And so, you know, John's so efficient, you know, he doesn't have to audition someone or, you know, spend a lot of time making up a name for a character. You know, he'll just do that. So, saved him time and money, so he just gave me
That's
the
why
part.
I only had that one audition.
That's exactly what, well, he said he had you in mind, and you know, why bother to look anywhere else? He doesn't spend a lot of time second guessing himself.
I love it. Okay, let's do one in the front row.
What would you like to work with Donald Pleasance?
Donald Pleasance.
It was intimidating for me. I didn't really work with him, but just the idea of him being on the set and was really intimidating for me because he was in, at that time, my most favorite movie of all time was The Great Escape. And I'd seen it a million times, and he was in it, and he was fabulous in it, and so the idea that he was right there 10 feet away from me was really amazing. So that's what it was like to work with Donald Pleasance.
Yeah, I didn't have any scenes with him, but we definitely ate lunch with him, and it was very quiet, and I think, I heard afterwards that he liked keeping character, so he was just, you know, keeping in character and not wanting to break out into a smile. And all, everyone was 3 giggly girls all the time anyway, so didn't want to mess with us.
Yeah, we were in character too.
Totally. You guys are easy.
Back to the mask, for the 2 male actors, how did you feel when you would put the mask on versus any other time during shooting? Did it give you a sense of euphoria, or how did you feel?
Yeah, how did you feel when you put on the mask?
Well, no, you know, first of all, my experience is, I'm sure, very different than James's because we're starting the franchise. You know, we don't know what the hell we have, so all I knew was put on this rubber thing over my head. It was very, you know, and John telling me which way to walk and which way to not walk. So no, it didn't have any special connotation to me. When I put on the mask to do my cameo for the new one, it did make me feel like, oh my God, what am I doing? So there was something about, you know, recalling the emotion of that. But when we're doing it, again, it's kind of like what you're hearing, you know, we were all young people doing a crazy film for a couple $100,000 and, you know, doing our roles, you know. So and my role, of course, was, you know, these people can actually act, as you might notice.
It's not.
I had never intended, nor can I, to get in front of the camera with a mask on. That's it. So I guess that's the answer.
For me, you know, because I live in South Carolina now, so flew out to Los Angeles, met Chris Nelson. We did in the Van Dyke Studios, and we were doing all the you know, the preparing for Chris to make the mask. I didn't get to see it though until we were actually rehearsing that long tracking shot that we would spend the entire day night rehearsing that long tracking shot. So Chris shows up in the airport. It's got a big Halliburton, it's a beautiful leather case, and Ron, the stunt coordinator, grabs me, and we went back in the back room with all the principals, you know, like so nobody could see. And so he pulls the mask out, and it's just this piece of art. I mean, it's an incredible piece of art. So I'm standing in a doorway, and Chris comes over, and he puts the mask on me. And so for me, the shape is a place. It exists, and I can go into it, I can leave it, but it's a place. It's an energy that it's beyond verbal definition. When I put that frickin' mask on, it was like the circuit was complete. It was like I could feel it, and collectively, everybody in the room at the same time went, I mean, literally, it was just, and then we started playing, and with light, and so it was. So what I would do is when I worked, when the mask went on, I was in. And in between each take, I would just stand off to the side. I didn't talk to anybody. I was just in my place. When I'm working David or Attila, the first AD, or Ron Hutchinson, the director, the stunt coordinator, I might get a little direction. Or mostly David would be like, hey, Jim, try this, or this. He was like a kid in the sandbox. An amazing director to work with. But I was in my space. And then when Christopher Nelson would come over to pull the mask off me, then I take a deep breath and I'm back to me. And it's been consistently that way. That's why right now I would not put the mask on for anybody, because it's a sacred place. It's a sacred place I go to, and I'm not going to do it again until it's the right time to do it.
On that note, do you know where Nick's cameo is? Do you guys know where it was in the film?
Here.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. There we go.
So, to the two Michael Myers, with that being said, so they got different takes on it because we were just for the first time taking it on. You have history with it, and you're on, you accomplished that character. Do you have a favorite kill?
Favorite kill.
That is one of my favorites. The other one is Bob, her buddy.
I have to, there's kind of two, because my favorite kill in terms of just a kill is the window scene, because that's the way I would kill. That's the way I was taught to kill. There's no drama there. You get in, you take care of business, you stealth, you're efficient, you get away. That's the right. So I love that. But I gotta say, man, the bathroom scene was great, because I just love fucking people up.
I believe it. I'm right next to him. Right over here.
Okay, and it's kind of in addition to that question, do you have a favorite scene that you filmed, or one that was more memorable than the others that you felt like made a difference in the movie that you liked?
Favorite scene that you filmed?
Oh, I gotta tell you, the ending, for me, the fire, because, you might, it's hard to tell from watching it on screen, but I was wearing two Nomex suits that were soaked in fire retardant gel with a larger costume over, a larger suit over me. I was gelled up everywhere. When the explosion went off, my eyes and my mouth were closed. And when you're sitting in front of a campfire, and your jeans get really hot, and it's cold out, you don't want to move, but finally you got to move. Okay, it was that hot immediately. Like that hot around the whole body. I'm breathing like this, because if I would take a full breath in, I would burn the epithelial tissue in my mouth and lungs. So, and then what you do, and we did 2 takes on that, and what you do is you wait for a bite. And when it bites you, then you've got 3 to 5 seconds to get out. So then I had to back down and walk off to the side, and everything was cool. So the first time I got bit in the leg, the second time I got bit in the neck. And what I love about that is, because it's dangerous, because you can really, really get into the last shot of the day and the last shot of the reshoots, like I can afford to get into at that point. So what I love about that though is the calm place you have to go to. I love the place I was in playing the shape anyhow. but playing the shape in that situation with that degree of danger really makes me super, super calm. And if I could live in that calm place my life, oh my God, it'd be amazing. So that was amazing thing to shoot.
And that's why I didn't do that cameo.
All right, right up here, sir.
Yeah, the music is obviously so powerful, and it really is truly its own character in the film. What was it like seeing your scenes, with that music, and also knowing that John is not only just an amazing director, but of course he's the composer as well. I mean, it just has been an incredible experience to see, to hear that music.
Yeah, what was it like seeing yourself with the music behind you?
Well, I didn't, I only saw the completed movie with the music on it, when, I'm not sure if we had, did we have a cast and crew?
There was a cast and crew.
Okay. So I was probably at that point, and it just seemed like a perfect fit. I didn't think much more other than, well, good idea, John, 5 more times. And we were in a band together, so I know he was talented, but what I did hear from John, you may have heard this before in another interview, but John and Tommy at the editing bay, looking at the movie and then looking at it with the score under it for the first time, they went, shit, it's working. And that's when they really knew that the movie worked. And I couldn't be more proud of my buddy John, because that score that we all obviously love got voted as one of the 50 best scores in American cinema history. And the new one, I thought, his boys did a lot of work on that one, and they did a hell of a job. And I love this new score in the new one.
Yeah. Well, this hour just flew by. You know what? We'll give a warning. We'll do one more question. So if somebody has a really, really good one, we could sit here and listen to stories and make this all day. But while they're here, you have to make sure you stop by the booths and get all the cool stuff signed while they're here, and make sure you do the photo op, because those are really, really beautiful. So, it's better than a cell phone picture, right? All right, who's got the good final one to carry us out? Go right ahead, man.
This one's for Mr. Castle. Whenever you were when you got the mask for Michael, what made you decide that because the walk is the other thing that makes him scary? How did you come up with the walk?
How did you come up with the walk?
The question is how I came up with the walk, and again, that was just by accident. I basically, I've said this a number of times too. I did at one point when I realized I was going to be seen walking across the street. I think it was at night. I said, John, this is now you're really seeing the character, head to toe, and walking across the street. What do you want? Out of this, and he said, Nick, just walk. Okay. He now has gone on to embellish that story, I think, to say that he just really liked my dad was a dancer, I have a certain gait. So I have no idea. I'm just glad it worked out. I'm sure there's some instinctive thing. I know I wasn't going to rush it. But I'm just, I'm happy it worked out.
That's awesome. And it did work out. Before we get the guys their big Texas send-off, we're going to try something crazy. I'm not sure how well it's going to work, but we're going to do a big group selfie with you guys all behind us. Let's see how many people we can fit in this thing. You guys ready? And then we're going to send them off in our big Texas Frightmare way. You guys want to stand up?